Hello everybody, and welcome to part 3 of the Lister Star repair. I'm Simon, and welcome to Oakside Saddlery. Okay then, so I have some parts. Parts are second-hand parts, so they're okay because they're not electrical parts as such. Part 2 saw us repairing our circuit board, so we can get it all back together again. That all worked. Bits we're going to replace. So casing. The casing had what appears to be drill holes through the back of it there, and levering bits here to try and get it apart. I'm not sure what was going on there. So that's buggered. We're not keeping that. When they drilled it, they drilled straight through the switch as well. So we're not keeping that. The switch has been replaced, which was this one. So again, that has another drill hole straight through the top of it. I'd love to know what was going on with these clippers. So we're not using that. The head itself is good. We've got a replacement switch for it, so you can see no drill holes, funny enough. Replacement casing, no drill holes in it, so we can use that. I've probably gained too many screws here. Blades have been cleaned, don't need them for the time being. Filter's been cleaned, that was pretty good in the first place, but that's done, we can use that. Motor worked, another screw found, cleaned that up, cleaned this up, and we've got a bit for our plug that was missing, so these parts are spare. That's just got to sit across there. 3 amp fuse, so the red fuse is a 3 amp fuse. For a pat test, double insulated, 3 amp fuse should be fitted. It should have this cover over it, so all they do is they sit in and clip in place. The reason they come out is because they fall out. People don't even notice, they're probably lying around somewhere. So let's get these back together. Don't need these bits for the time being. What I need is this casing. The casing was second hand, so this is an old one with a burnt out motor in it. Hence the reason it's got some stains around here where the motor burnt out. But the casing itself is in good enough condition to be repaired. It's the same one actually. It is a Star rather than a Neon. They're the same, just the same screws in them. So the bit we're going to use then is the part what has our cable clamp on it. So our motor's going to sit in here. It's going to sit in there somewhere. Circuit board's going to sit in here behind it. Our wires are going to come round and across to the top over there and figure out that easiest way of that to get in there. And we're going to put our cable in. I've tidied up the end of the cable as well. So what I haven't had a clean up with yet was any of these and the bearings. There's an O-ring sitting in there, so we put a little drop of oil on that bearing. It feels good. So all we're doing, a little tiny drip of oil just in there. Work that round so it goes into it. Once that's in there and it's nice and smooth, we're going to wipe off any excess because we don't want oil everywhere. So we get that off of there. We're going to get that O-ring back up. I usually round off of this. Just needs to sit across the top of here, so it's easier to pull it off and push it back down than it is to try and pull it out the other way. That's going to sit about halfway down on there. Our motor itself, that feels pretty good. I can't do a lot with these. These are just a solid state one, so nothing can go on with these. I can't do nothing to repair them. I can get rid of that bit of muck that's across there. It's had a bit of a blowout, but otherwise it's nothing I can do. And a spray in here as well for electrical cleaner type spray. End's going to go back on then, so that just fits on there. Sits inside. Our little bits there. So this is going to sit here, and it will sit in this position, so it can turn on there. That's pretty good going. And this circuit board is going to sit behind it with the switch facing there. And because I've moved all the wires around, everything's all in the wrong places now, but these wires tend to come down to the back here, and then they fold round on themselves and go back, and it's quite tight. So they're going to be this way around. So there's a little bit of red paint on there. So that's our live one, so in which case this one is a brown. The brown is live. And the blue is the return, the neutral on it. So that's going to go on there. I had to feel a bit loose, but it's stuck all right. That's going to sit on the back here. So hopefully this will all go in nice in place. The circuit board, edge of the circuit board fits into this slot back here as well. So these can be a bit fiddly sometimes, because when you're putting them together, they don't want to go in place. So this side's all right, the other side's a bit more of a pain. That needs to sit back into there where it just popped out from. Back down there. So this is quite a tight fit, but it does all go in there in the end. There we go, so that's pretty good. Motor turns, that feels right. Our thermo fuse is put in place. So that's our first part. Now we have our cable clamp, which will go across here, and we need to put our wiring in there. So our wiring. The idea of these are, when we've got this in, you clamp this part of the cable, the sheath, not the wires on the end. So we've got an L and an N there. Brown is live as steel, so we've pushed the live one into here. That's where I've had that off, I haven't undone them properly. So just loosen these up. These have a little spring inside them, so they're quite often a bit tighter than what you think. And we want as much of this wire, if I can keep hold of it and keep it straight, in there as possible. Blimey. And say it's a little tiny gap. See that bit at the bottom? Got to go in there. So it just fits in there and it doesn't want to go in. Sometimes it does this. Just push the circuit board back out of place. So when it's a bit tight like that, little tip, we get ourselves a set of little needle nose pliers, because what it does is it's flexing before I can get that into there. And we grip it nice and close to where we want it. And then when we push it on, we're now actually pushing into the wire and I can get it in there. There it goes. So it's just getting that initial part to go over the top. So live is in, tighten that one up. Again, when you do these, just grip it as tight as you can on that part there, because you don't want to turn on the circuit board underneath. Neutral one, that doesn't want to go in either, so we'll do the same again. We'll just grip it nice and tight and push that last little part. There it goes. That's a little bit long, that one. Just nip the end off of that where I've shortened them. I would do, find me side cutters. I used them the other day and put them somewhere safe. These ones are a bit rubbish. Good. So let's have another go. So take our little wire, line it up where it wants to be, get a grip, push it in, it's better. Tighten that one down. Good, that's in there, that's in there. Circuit board's in place. So, cable clamp. We need to sort these wires out so they fold in as best they can. It's going to sit there. When we took this apart, this was round the wrong way, wasn't it? So it should be that way round. So the idea is it protects the wire a little bit better. So we've got one screw that appears to be lined up. So we can just start to get that one in there. And then the other screw, I'm going to push across. Ooh. Go to the back, there it goes. I'm going to push it across and go in there. Cable's pulled out, see where that just slipped through? Common course. So anything like that would be a pat test foul. That cable was hanging out the back, pat test foul. As soon as I've got to pat test these afterwards, better do it properly, haven't I? So let's have another go. So push it back in place. So it sits in there. Let's have another go. That goes better on there. There's one. It goes out there, that's better. So tighten that down. Yeah, so that one's in there, that one's in there. That circuit board looks like it's been pushed out a little bit with that, so it'll be a fun one when I come to line them back up. Everything else looks good. So you can see now where that cable's deliberately clamped up and out the way. We can push our sheath in, which I should have probably done earlier because I probably can't get it in there now. Always ever the professional. Push that through my screwdriver on that last little bit there. Yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. Always good. So that's now in there. Okay, so we've got that in, the switch bit here, and the little sticky label needs to pull out. So this switch here, it sits just on top of this. It needs to go over that label, under the plastic, and drop back. And what we can see, or what I can see, whether you can or not is another thing. What we can see is where this piece here will press on top of that switch button. So as you're pulling it backwards and forwards, it presses the switch down, pulls it up, presses the switch down, pulls it up. The idea of that is, because this is double insulated, it means what you're actually switching doesn't go anywhere near any electrics, because it's all down the end of this line here. So on that old casing, where they drilled through that, whatever they was doing, that's where they drilled through this into there and into the switch. Still don't know what they was up to. So never mind, we'll figure that out. So that's our clippers, the inner part of it, all back together. So our casing is going to go on top here. We have to line up that slot there with this circuit board, and a lot of times when you do this, it doesn't want to line up and people force it. But if it's forced, it's not going to work very well. The board will be out of place, and then your switch won't work. So we need to make sure our labels sit over the top, and then we push our back pieces in, and I can already feel that is not lining up with that circuit board. See where it doesn't want to go? So we'll have another little fiddle around until we get it to fit into place a bit better. That feels better, that feels better. That's better. There we go. So that's our motor and everything in place. A little twiddle with my finger to make sure it's there. Screws then. So we've got a selection of screws now, because I've got some from the old one, some from the new one. Little ones go in the bottom there. Three in there. They're all the same head on them, because sometimes they change them on different makes. So back the wrong way, I just felt that click down. Little turn. It's not tightened up or nothing yet. That one's not even in the hole. There it goes. Back the wrong way. Little turn. It's in there. This one's nowhere near the hole, so figure that out. There it goes. That feels better. So I'm going to tighten these up a little bit. Keep this clipper's grip together in my hand. So they're not up tight, they're just there. The big one, so I obviously don't need that. That's a spare. Only one I'm going to put in, not the front one. I'm going to put the one in the back. The front one, remember, holds the head in. So the one on the back is going to go in. Line it up. It goes, just clicked in place. Tighten it up. And this time I have tightened that all the way up. Tighten the back one up. Tighten that one up. Tighten that one up. So that's all our main screws. So we've just got these parts to put together. But before I do anything, I am going to switch them on and test them to see if they work or not. It might be that when I did the soldering, whatever else, something wasn't quite right. So rather than waste my time putting it, I'll plug them in, see what happens. So the plug sorted, cable sorted. I checked the cable, so I know that's okay. Clippers, one way's on, one way's off. I think that way's off. Okay, they're on. Plugged in, everything should be there. They're working, but no, they'll be alright. So, clipper's working. Before I do anything else, I'm going to unplug them. So head, let's get the clipper head on. So we need a bit of oil in here, sort these all out. So this part in here has a little drop of oil just in there. So we put that in there, give it a turn round, and we can rotate that about to make sure it goes in. And that oil is going to work its way down through that drive shaft into here, because this was a little bit tight. The other drop of oil it needs is in through that hole there. So this part turns on the blades. This part here is clipper bladey stuff, so we're going to use clipper oil on this. So all we do is put a little drop in the hole there, and a little drop in the back of it there. Give that a little turn, make sure it's all okay. This part here, plastic on metal, don't necessarily need grease, but they always have grease on them. So I'm going to put a little bit of grease in there. So the bit of grease I'm going to put on it, I'm going to put it onto this side here, and all I'm going to do is just start to smear it on its way round as it goes. So I'm just going to turn it round, just smear it in. Don't have to go everywhere. What I do really want to do is get a bit more of it all on there. Yeah, remove that excess because I'm going to get it all over myself otherwise. Clipper head then. Lines it up, pushes into place. This little bracket goes into the two holes. This is where I find it's different, because the clipper head on the other one was different, like there, where it didn't do it. Because these, I think they drill these once they would probably either put them in hot or drill them, but they don't necessarily. One's lining up, the other side isn't. Now let's try to push that away. So there's bits there. That should do. It's not a very good one. Neither of them want to go in. I might have to find the clipper head that went with these bits. Bit annoying. Let's try again. So this is a little bit tight, but I've got round it by bringing out a hammer. That one's going in all right. This side here wants to grip, but once it's gone in there, it actually feels good. I had to put the screw in there, so I've already done that. You might notice it's gone missing, so I can finish tightening it up now. So that's our clippers back together. Just got the filter to go in, so the filter's there. It sits with that nice curve on it. All you want to make do is check your foam when you push it in so it stays up, because sometimes it folds back. But clippers, let's use that, because pretend I never used the hammer. Don't need the oil. Don't need all the oil stain. So we have our clippers back together. All the bits are sorted, that's in there, so that would now pass in theory a pat test once I plug it in and test it. Blades and that are all good. All I'm going to do is, where I've done that head, I'm going to plug it back in again to see what it does. So let's wait. Sounds better to me. So they work well. We've got our clippers together. I'm going to clear that muck of oil off of there. That was We've got our duff parts that we had. Pair of clippers serviced, repaired. Hopefully it'll last them another little while. So these are prone to having problems with their motors. I've got a lot of these with problems with motors. Not normally because someone's drilled a hole in the back, but they work. Anyway, as we're going, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, probably find them out, so follow on the channel and subscribe. Other than that, Lister Star Horse Clipper repair. If you like what you see, then click that thumbs up and have a good day. Goodbye.